Founder of the Ethiopian Institute for Economic Justice and academic advisor at the Lake Community College, Okony is one of the Ethiopian Americans advocating his home country, Ethiopia. And we'll be spending some time with him, ladies and gentlemen, discussing current issues unfolding in his home country, Ethiopia, in this edition of this dialogue. With it, I'm Shifarao Lako, do stay with us. Okony, thank you so much for your time and for being my guest.
My pleasure to be here with you.
Now, Ethiopia is calling on the diaspora community to come home and show their solidarity with the compatriots here. How are you going to respond to the call of the expats in the USA, including yourself? Let's start with this.
Well, thank you. I think that is the right call in the right time. I think this is a time that we need to mobilize ourselves, whoever able to, and to head home at this time and be able to support in rebuilding the country after so much damage has been done and loss of life, and also economics being going down so fast. So having the diaspora travel home during the upcoming holiday is the right call.
Ethiopians across the world have been rocking the whole globe with their hashtag No More movements regarding Ethiopian affairs. How strong, in your view, were the message that they conveyed to the whole world, and how should continue?
I think it has rocked the world in a surprise. This is the first time since I've been in diaspora that I saw Ethiopians in a large number across the globe participating in constant protesting, walking down the streets, writing letters, and active on social medias, trying to counter the misinformation and disinformation that has been directed to damage the Ethiopian reputation under the new leadership, the first democratic ever leadership in Ethiopia that I can recall. So this no more hashtag, actually, I think it's creating a major impact in an unprecedented way, because you look around the globe, like the United States, Canada, Australia, Europe, to South Africa. It is something that people now learning to understand what is happening in Ethiopia, what is no more about. And should this continue in the next few months, I think the individuals, organizations, or governments that are reluctant to listen, I think they will start to listen, and also to start to take initiative in what the Ethiopian people are calling for.
As you know, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has recently joined the military, going right to the war front, and this has obviously boosted up the morale and confidence of the military. How have you, the diaspora communities in the United States of America, taken this surprising move by the Prime Minister?
Oh my goodness, brother, we were all moved by it. I had never been in the military, but talking with friends here in the States and across the Western world, every person I talked to almost saying that if I were home, I would go to the front to support and stand behind the young Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, who shown by exemplary what it is like to sacrifice for a country. Instead of sitting in a room with air conditioning.
In a cozy room, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead, please. Sorry.
Yes, exactly. So, and seeing things coming at you, then better to go out and lead. That is the meaning of leadership. To go out and lead what your subordinates are not doing right. To make sure that you supervise and you participate, to make sure it is successful, done right, and successfully completed. And soon I can see that the mission will be completed pretty soon, and Ethiopia will start a new chapter. Had he not gone there, things would have been completely different by now.
Indeed. Many people are also calling on other Afghan nations to join the battle against TPLF terrorist groups, strongly asserting that it is also a fight against the emerging trends of neocolonialism and imperialism. What is your take on that?
Well, exactly. That's what it is. I remember being a little boy, during the Mengistu, last years of Mengistu regime, we used to be, coached pretty much. And here, people are saying, even him saying that imperialism, Udom, and whatnot. But we didn't even know. I didn't know the meaning of the imperialism at the time. But the neocolonialism is something completely new to me as well. But coming to the States, I realized and learned that neocolonialism in Africa, I don't think whether it's a neocolonialism or colonialism has ever ended. So it just mutated to to what we call neocolonialism now, which is basically a means to use economic, political, culture, or other pressure, to control or influence a country or countries, usually done by the former colonizer. In this case, Ethiopia not being a colony of any Pacific country, but is still being treated that way. Whereas the imperialism is pretty much using one country's power and military force to influence diplomacy and military force so that the country can accept the demand which the imperialists wanted to be accepted. And this is exactly what Ethiopia is going through, what Ethiopia is experiencing.
Indeed. Also, foreign media outlets, are still conspicuously ignoring positive developments and Ethiopia's cries for justice across the globe, while promoting misinformation against the country. It is really sad and obviously unexpected of huge global media outlets of the West, right? Despite what is being done by Ethiopians and friends of Ethiopia.
It is interesting indeed. It's because it is done because I think it is an ignorance in a way that the media, and which is the major international media outlets, have intentionally picked one side to promote that agenda and refuse to listen to the other side, which is the government side. So, and they're putting the government and the so-called rebels, which is the former ruler for how many years, nearly 30 years that they ruled the country. They intentionally want to favor the anti-government groups. And by doing this, they wanted to see the government collapse. And as if the individual or the group that are favoring being marginalized, or as if they were targeted by the government. But the government is fighting against an aggressor. Former rulers who had looted the country, killed, tortured people, and pretty much is changed the history. I have no idea why the media not finding facts about the history, the background of the Pacific group, the TPLF, so that they can have fair and balanced report instead of being skewed only toward the TPLF. And it could be because of you know, the big brothers, they are behind the aggressor.
Also, insurgents have recently formed 9 rebel groups or rebel factions, as you well know. Among them are people who praise TPLF for their leadership. Meanwhile, it was the TPLF regime that killed many people in the state of Gambella. And this has outraged the majority in many communities, both in the diaspora and homeland. I really want your say on this.
Well, thank you. I would like to say a few words about that. First, the having Gambella part into it. You know, it is something unthinkable. When we heard individuals from the Gambella region, which is Gambella region. When we talk about Gambella region, who are the Gambella people anyway? The Gambella people are Anuak and Anywa, and the other ones are Majang, Kumu, Upu, Shuri, which is some of them not counted toward in Gambella yet, but they are getting services in Gambella, but they've been excluded. The Anywa people, they were specifically targeted and turned into a second-class citizen since the TPLF took power, actually. And it is quite unfortunate because when the coalition forces toppled the Mengistu government, among them, the coalition forces was Gambella People Liberation Front, which was founded by the Anywa people, and there was some engineering in it. Then as soon as they came home, within the month they came home, at the time the TPLF shot and killed one of the GPLM member, and the fight broke out right there within small town of Gambella, because Gambella has the name of the region, has the name of the town, and whatnot. And as time goes by, they started to coach people who would destroy the GPLM, eventually, cut off the Anywa people. And the first thing they did was to incite, to basically to counsel some of the Anywa individuals to turn against the leaders, which is the head of the GPLM, Governor Agwalamo at the time, which they killed in 1992. And then as a pretext, so they now declare as a terrorist organization. The organization then went after the GPLM and attacked them and sent them across even back to South Sudan, to Sudan at the time. And as time goes by, there were a number of incidents where they were interfering with the regional leadership. First, they coached individuals to kill their lone leaders, saying that he was not providing food for their soldiers, saying they were not providing food assistance for the GPLM soldiers, because at the time there were the TPLF forces, the OLF forces, so many factions of Oromo at the time, like 5 of them, and we had Benishangul, we had Ogaden. All these armed groups were there in their regions, but they started targeting each of them. So the GPLM was one of them, which is the Anywa people were targeted. So in 2002, things started to deteriorate. In 2003, I'm talking about now 2003, which is 1996 in the Mari calendar, that when they use a pretext, a vehicle that attacked somewhere miles away from home, they used the Tipoleb regime at the time, used that to massacre the Anuak during a broad daylight. There is an article titled, "Today is the Day of Killing the Anuak," with ANUAK. Today is the day of killing the Anuak. I think it was written by the Human Rights Watch. And now to have an individual from such a community to go and join the declared terrorist group, which is they are terrorists, because I had witnessed numerous of practices, extrajudicial killing, and so many rights abuses, which can legitimize the status and will declare as a genocide what they had done to Anuak. For this individual to go there and attend the meeting and say, thank you, Tigray people they're great people, they are brave, and so forth, that is ludicrous. You cannot do that. The good thing was that the Anuak people in the Western world and also across the homeland, and also those who still refugees in Sudan, Kenya, Uganda, they had shocked and they condemned the decision that made by such individuals. But when I come to the other team, that associated with the 9 groups, I find that it is a sort of like a fairy tale kind of thing. Because in 1991, if the TPLF want the system, now they are coaching these individuals to join, they could have done that. It was in 1991, we had the groups that I had mentioned earlier, the Benishangul group, the Apar, Ogaden, Oromo, the Gambella people, or Anuak, and some other ones. So then they could have done that at the time and keep them in a way that, they all stand for their own regions with having arms and whatnot and declare it as Confederate state, but not to turn around today, start another one. Who are you trying to fool? If you would allow me a few words, if you do not mind.
Okay.
In terms of these 9 groups,
yeah, okay.
And the video that was leaked in secret meeting, that was the where former ambassador Brane Christos was the spokesman or the guest of the honor, if you will. I was surprised by his words. He was talking about Ethiopia as if Ethiopia is like a piece of bread that you break into pieces for coffee. He was talking about transitions using the foreign diplomats. And he was also using words like, we want to have confederacy and federalist and things like that, and we want to have transitional government. I don't know what the individual wanted to do. If he wanted to come back as the head of transitional government, maybe be a president, then they will become prime minister later, like what happens, like they said, history repeats itself. So what happened in 1991, then he wanted to repeat that. I find that is something is ridiculous and reckless. He talked of Ethiopia as if his TPLF is the godfather of Ethiopia. Whatever they want to do, they can decide with a bunch of foreign diplomats to to go ahead and mess up Ethiopia. He doesn't even feel pain of the the young men and ladies or young boys and girls. They're dying in the front line from Tigray region, falling like leaves, as the Prime Minister said. How can you talk like this at this time and your kids are not in Ethiopia? So these kind of individuals, and also to have former and current diplomats to discuss how to topple a government. I think there should be a response from the Ethiopian government trying to sum up these ambassadors. I mean, file something. I don't know. The Ethiopian government knows than me. File some complaint against these foreign diplomats so that they can be either barred or punished or something, because what they were doing is treason. We have a duly elected prime minister, the first democratic system in Ethiopia that I know of, or that I heard of. But now, instead of accepting the process, which Ambassador Brian Christos refused, he wanted shortcuts. Now I want to come back through the back door again to rule Ethiopia and to ruin Ethiopia. That is not acceptable. So I was shocked even to find some of the former US ambassador to Ethiopia to be participating and calling the prime minister a hard-headed, does not listen. What is it a diplomat supposed to do? A diplomat supposed to talk, in fair and balanced way without taking one side. But this is so of a concern to a person like me, to all of us who are concerned about peace, security, and development. If we have ambassadors or diplomats in Africa who are engaging in activity like this, it is time for each country in Africa to reevaluate, and I know Ethiopia will do this, to reevaluate how these ambassadors that they're accepting, they're going to work with them. Because you cannot be a diplomat in a country, at the same time you look down on them. And you want to change a regime or support a regime change through the barrel of a gun instead of through the ballots.
You also argue that lack of reforms and rampant corruptions, crimes, and lack of legal reforms are still rampant in the Gambella region. Tell me more about it and what should be done, Okony.
Thank you, Shifaro. Gambella is in deep crisis. Gambella is in a deep crisis. If it were a human being, it would have been in ICU, in an intensive care unit. Gambella, the last time it had a legitimate and competent leader was after the head of GPLM, Agwalamo, was killed, and then it was then preceded by Okello Oman. Okello Oman was the only leader that was took the position through the basically the constitution of the party. Also a person that people almost could have chosen. Then he was removed by the TPLF in a very wrong way. They went and beat him up like as if he was an ordinary, someone who had stolen something, as if not a head of a region. And Okello, even his death came because of that torture they had done to him. Imagine a military, a country army in an army uniform going to regional leader house and pull him out and beat him like a snake. it's only done by the TPLF, only done in Ethiopia. There's no change in Gambella. Gambella is the only region that remains in the hands of TPLF. I mean, TPLF is don't have to, and not necessarily a person from Tigray, but it is an ideology now. You know, that's what's going on in Gambella. There is so much corruption, money being supposed to be allocated for the stadium. They ended up looting the money, and you go to Gambella today, the stadium is half done. There's supposed to be money for the media center, like every state has their own media center. They had looted that money. So there hasn't been any reform in the Gambella region. This is why help is needed. Once the dust is settled in the northern part of the country, we want the federal government of Ethiopia to take action in Gambella.
Finally, what is your message to the people of Ethiopia concerning the establishment of the Southwest region?
Well, first of all, starting from Ethiopia, the war soon will be over, and Ethiopia need to unite. Because if there's no unity, the same group will take that opportunity and start deteriorating the country again. And this unity is not about becoming one region, one language, one flag, but with respect to democratic to federal system, and but by having the accepting the differences, because our differences are distinct, or the people differences are their distinct. Respect to human rights, respect to their ethnic diversity. So by doing that, they can start building democratic processes to have, equitable Ethiopia, equal representation, and they can build a strong institution, whereby accused person could be a police, then could be investigated and be charged for whatever, or it could be a child of a rich person. We want a better Ethiopia, and in order for that to happen, you have to allow what has been started by the current prime minister, because this vision is more important than people realize. And we want to, Ethiopia, we are economic empower, and also empower minorities and women across the board. But when it comes to the people of Southwest, this is something that's completely, new, and I wish them. I'm really happy and wish them a success, because formerly I would have been under a Kapaki Plager, but today we were categorized according to our look and what we eat. You eat kwacha, you be with these people. You eat the niche, you be with these people. This is not what Ethiopia is supposed to be. It's supposed to be based on geographical locations, what is the best for the people in that area, by protecting, respecting their interests. So the Southwest people, they need to embrace this opportunity and start building an equitable government, whereby, building peace among themselves, and democratically elect their leaders without interference, which is there no interference, and start building quality education, primary, secondary, and post-secondary, which is colleges and universities. I could say that I am, my spirit is there with them, and I hope someday I would be able to contribute to what's happening there in the Southwest. And would you, I don't know, do you have a minute or so? Okay, in my closing remarks, the youth of APAR, or ground drones, and Amara or Pano, I am indebted to you for the fierce resistance you have put up against the invading force, who were nearly 30 years carry out right abuses against your people. They made Apar, Gambella, Benishangul Gumus, and Somali region as supporters of the PRDF, which is basically like saying you are not fully Ethiopian. They even call it the four regions as emerging regions. Then you ask yourself, what made Tigray more Ethiopian than people from these four regions? The whole people of Ethiopia is in Ethiopia. The whole people of Ethiopia living in Ethiopia must unify and recognize that dying while defending your God-given rights are worth more than accepting slavery like life. TPLF has nothing to offer, rather to enslave you, loot you, kill you, make you a second-class citizen, and tell you you will bring nothing. Go to the bush if you want. Accept no TPLF and its ideologies. Ethiopia, Thickdom, long live Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. Thank you, and I love you and I respect you all.
Thank you, Okony. Thank you so much for your ideas. Thank you so much for your time as well.
I appreciate it. Sorry to take so much time, my brother.
No problem. Well, dear viewers, with that, we come to the end of today's program. Many thanks for watching us so far. Until I see you next time with another program, it's goodbye from me, Shfaralago. Bye-bye.